Hello and welcome to the Kenya Times. My name is Diana Yegon. Today's show is quite interesting because I'm having somebody who's been giving our president sleepless nights. I know when I talk about giving our president sleepless nights, what comes to your mind is probably, number one, this person is a Gen Z. Well, you're right. But also he's giving our president sleepless nights for reason number two. Recently, we had the finance bill protests 2024, and now students all over the country and youths and parents are protesting against the new university funding model. And now that's another reason why he's giving president sleepless nights. I am talking about a student leader. He is not just a student leader at the University of Nairobi. He is also a medical pioneer, right? He also has political ambitions. This guy has a lot to tell us. He wants also to tell us why he's giving our president sleepless nights. So allow me to introduce to you Ramesh Saxena. Ramesh, umeniambia wewe ni Gen Z. Tuanze na salamu za Gen Z. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Okay,
yeah.
First of all, before you start introducing yourself, telling us who you are, I'm interested to know, this is your name, Ramesh Saxena. Your jina imetoka ni ya wapi? I've never heard of this name, honestly.
Hawezi amini mimi ni Mhindi mweusi.
Really?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay, let's leave alone the possibilities. Let's talk about, is that in your ID?
Yeah. I'm a man with two names. I'm Ramesh Saxena.
Really?
Yes.
Ulipatiwa na wazazi?
Yeah, kupatiwa na wazazi, sio ya kujibandika kama ya Babu Owino ama Sonko.
Okay, hiyo jina inamaanisha?
That's always my secret. But I think I'll let you in.
Please tell us.
Yeah, I got my name by association. You see, my dad had this very good friend. Yes, he was called Dr. Ramesh Saxena. He worked at Isipe. You know Isipe, right?
Isipe, where is Isipe?
Isipe has two branches countrywide. There's a main office in Nairobi, and there's another one in Nyanza. It was started by some great person known as Thomas Odhiambo. Yes, it's a center for studies regarding things like entomology and sorts. So this guy came to Kenya mainly to work on the spread of neem. You know neem tree, Marubaine? Yeah. He's the guy responsible for most of the neem trees you'll see around Kenya. But he was a doctor as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was a good friend of my dad. So in giving me his name, he thought that maybe I could walk the same path, be a doctor someday. Yeah.
And you're working through that same path.
Inshallah,
so,
we'll get there.
Yeah. So now tell us, where do you come from? Tell us a bit more about your background.
Okay. That's an interesting question. Yeah. I have Indian names, but I'm a Luo from Homa Bay County.
You're a Luo from Homa Bay County.
Yes. I was born in a place called Kasgunga Ward. Yeah, Nyamasare Primary. Kasgunga Ward is in Suba North constituency, the one that is run by Emilio Odhiambo presently. Suba North constituency is in Homa Bay County. Homa Bay County used to be in Nyanza province. Yes, Nyanza province was in Kenya. Yeah, so.
Okay. So how did you end up now in Nairobi? Have you been brought up in Nairobi, or were you brought up in Suba North? How did you get here? We just want to briefly get to know how you ended up here before now we get to your political career.
Okay. Mimi ni kama Gachagua. I'm a villager. Yeah. So yeah. So as I've told you, I was born in Nyamasare, and that's where I started my education at Nyamasare Primary. Yes. At some point, my parents sought better and took me to some academy in Beta. It's called Beta Academy. Yeah, where I studied for 2 years from class 4 to class 6.
Which year was this?
I have trouble with years, but I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Yes. Then I moved from Beta Academy to Isipe. In Isipe, there's a school. It's called the Beta Point International School. Yes, where most Indians and whites used to take their kids. You know, in the eras that we don't want to remember fondly. Yes. So I was transferred to that school. That's in 2012. I started in class 7.
So you went to an international school?
It's a public school, actually. Yes, it's a public school. You know,
it was...
Yeah, back then it was an international school by the standards of that time. Yeah, so I studied there for 2 years, class 7, class 8, yeah. I did my KCPE in 2013. Yeah, then I was... honored to be the index 1 in that place.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but it did not translate really to the results. Yeah, but I still did well.
What did you get? What grade did you get?
I got a 410.
That's what you were saying, it didn't translate.
I had like 2 or 3 people ahead of me, so that was...
Okay.
Yeah, but I took that positively because that's the year when the school, we were top 3. We were number 3 nationally among the public schools. Yeah, so it was a stellar performance. I think they still remember a lot till date. Yeah. And then I was called to Mango High School. Yeah, that was always my dream, really. Yeah, so from my side, I passed and got whatever I wanted. So that's how I ended up in Nairobi. I ended up in Nairobi in 2014.
So that's when you joined campus?
No, that's when I joined high school. I went to Mango High School. Yes, studied for 4 years. I did my examinations in 2017. Yes, during the Magoha Matiang'i era. Yeah, I remember in our year we only had 142 A's. Yes, I remember watching, and the minister was saying this year we had an improvement. Yes, there was 1 more A. Yeah, but yeah, we can say that God did. Yes, and I found myself among the 142. Yes. Yeah,
we were the ones watching you being mentioned while we are also waiting for our names to be mentioned. So after high school now, that's how you came to Nairobi.
Yes, after high school, there's the dream post high school. Yeah, I really wanted to do medicine. Yes, I really did not know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't have anything else in mind.
Yeah. So I chose to come to the University of Nairobi. Yes, and yeah, that's how I got myself. Yeah, I've been here for a long time, 6 years now. Yeah.
Wow. I'm so sure somebody who's watching right now has had, your life now from the moment you were born, the area you were born, the way your dad brought you up, and now you're here in Nairobi. You applied for the course you're doing now, or how did you end up here?
Yes, we did apply. Yes. First, during that time, we had applications in high school. Then after the examination, we were told that we had to reply again. Okay. So I did apply for the course. I applied for medicine. All through, we had 6 choices. So it was medicine in KU, medicine in JKUAT, medicine in Moi, and you see, till the end of the list. So either way, I was to end up somewhere. Doing medicine. Yeah, so I did that, and after a wait, it was not a long wait really. Yeah, we had the results. Yes, and we were called to the University of Nairobi. I think I still have the newspaper where our names were written. For prosperity.
In your time studying medicine, you found yourself, or maybe you were in the political space all through this time. At what point did you decide I just want politics. I want to do medicine and politics because if you ask me honestly, a combination of a medical student, haven't seen a doctor who's a politician. It's rare to find these kind of people. At what point did you decide now? Because now we already know you wanted medicine since the beginning.
Yes.
But now, at what point did the political ambition come through?
You're asking for my Damascus moment.
Yes, your Damascus moment.
I don't think people have those really for politics, because politics is a way of life. As I told you, I used to read magazines. I used to know, those that ran Kenya and all that. Then they were just figures to be admired and all that. Yeah, but along the way, you find yourself in spaces where you see decisions are being made, decisions that directly affect your life are being made, by people. And you have to ask yourself, shall I sit down, and watch people make decisions that affect my life and do nothing? I'm a largely, I'll say that a big part of me is introverted. Yeah, in fact, from high school, most people didn't know my name. Even the teachers, I went back and they were taking selfies with me. They're saying, "Oh, this is the Ramesh." Yeah, I was hugely quiet. Yeah. See, so even my high school classmates are very surprised when they see me, all of us speaking on the issues of the students and all. Yeah, but then I was trying to survive in silence. You see, but when we transitioned to the university, you see, there's a notion that university students are the voices of the society. Yeah, because we are here as a result of the support that we've got from the people. Some of us were schooled using CDF monies. Those are taxes from the people. It's very unfair for you to come to the university, study what you came to study, and live with the hope of getting gainfully employed. Then you start a family and you disappear. You see, it's kind of a selfish cycle. Yeah, so I told myself that, somehow I want to be among the people that, have opinions or make policies for the society to make societies better, because it's not as if we've got here without struggle. We have struggles in the society that we might not speak of, but you swear at night when you sleep that when you get to a point of power, you have to change this, you have to change this. But to get to a point of power, you have to start somewhere.
During the Finance Bill 2024 protests,
yes,
there were people who were protesting, but they were not even aware what they were protesting about.
Yes.
They were just riding in the wave.
Yes.
And now, over time, during the protests, now people started to understand that this is what we are protesting about, against. And now the new university funding model.
Yes.
Could you kindly highlight the few things that you feel are crushing the comrade? So for the purpose of somebody who's watching this and has no idea what they are protesting about, because there's probably a parent out there who's saying, no, I refuse, but they do not even know what they are.
They don't understand, really.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be specific to this new funding model, because it's the one topic that everyone is speaking about now.
Yeah.
You see, I told you the first issue was there was no proper public participation, which is wrong entirely. It does not matter how many meetings you have after this project or model has been put in place. It does not matter. The biggest question is, before you rolled out this model, how many people did you engage? Did you speak to the parents? Public sensitization, was it really done adequately? In the institutions, those who are responsible, to help the government roll out this thing, were they adequately prepared? Were they really taught to handle this, new funding model? You see, this is very important, because a model like the new funding model, it touches on education, and education touches on everyone in the country. And education is supposed to be, education beyond all other things is the greatest equalizer of mankind. You see, the social will on which the society should run and give us better people. But when you bring models that are affecting the people without really getting to engage the people and see their thoughts about it, then that is something that is wrong, and we have to speak about it.
So
that is one thing.
Well, the first thing that...
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Second thing?
The second thing is now this particular model in itself. You see, the model works in an interesting way. The principle of this model is actually good, because at its inception, the universities were, almost being...
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
We're talking about the new university funding model and the way you're against it.
Yes.
And as you tell us, as you highlight the things that you feel the reasons why we are doing that.
Yes.
Are you supporting the old model? Do you think there was anything wrong with it? Or do you think that would have continued?
Okay, for the old model, it's called the DUC, Differential Unit Cost. You see, the downside of that model, you see, all the failures of that model were brought by the government. Because it was a failure of remittance. The government committed to remit 80% of, if you study, the government was supposed to pay 80% of that, and the household is supposed to pay this other one. So you find that you will go, pay whatever you've been asked by the school to pay, but the government fails to remit that 80%. You find they are remitting 60%, 48%. So you find that over time, the universities are running into debts, because, if you are not remitting really, then where does that money come from? You see, so that model failed because the government failed to do what it committed, really. There are many, there are several issues that, the government raised on their failure to remit. But they have to accept that we are here because the government failed in that first phase. If it was a seamless process, then really there was no need to change to any other model. Yeah, but at that point of transition from that old model to this other model, there were universities that were almost closing down. You see, because of huge debts and everything. So the principle of this new model was to, it was to help these universities come back on their feet. And the bands, we have 5 bands, and for these bands, the government was saying that, for a child that is coming from a very vulnerable background, is supposed to be in band 1, so that whatever the household has to pay is, compared to the earnings of the family, is, commensurate. And if someone is very able in the society, they're being placed in band 5 of the affluence, so that they have to, pay more because they have more. If you look at that, there's an element of equality, because if you are poor, you pay less. If you are able, you pay more. The principle is appealing, you see, but there is a problem. The students are being placed in these bands using something known as the means testing instrument. Yeah, that is what is supposed to tell you that, Diana, you are in band 1, and Ramesh is in band 3 or in band 4. But our country, you see, there's a lot of corruption, and we have good models but poor executors. Yeah, so when you find that a child of someone working in the county government, a senior person in the county government, is in band 1, a very vulnerable student, you see, and someone whose mother is just a tomato seller back at home is in band 5. Yeah, the government says that that's someone that is very able, you see, and that is another thing that we are having a problem with. The means testing instrument is very flawed. You see, it is very flawed.
Now, apart from, medicine, apart from politics, fighting for the people, Gen Z, what else can you do? What else do you do, for fun? Because I don't believe you can just be, straight on books, fighting for the people. What else do you do for fun?
I don't think I indulge that much.
Really?
Yeah,
you don't do? Anything for fun?
I'm an introvert, so I tend to, when I'm not with the people, I tend to stay alone. Just read books. It's a dull life, I'd say.
So you love reading books?
Yeah, I do read books. Yes. Yeah.
What else? Just that?
I think just that. I used to play football, but I don't do that now.
Why? Because of responsibilities or what?
Pressed for time, and I could break my legs before becoming the next MP of Subanov.
Okay. Do you go to church? You've mentioned so many times in this interview the way, favor, and there's at some point you mentioned God. Do you believe, first of all, in God?
I believe in God. Yes, and it works. It will be, I believe in God.
You believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay. Sawa. What talents do you have?
I don't.
Because I have seen you're dodging my questions. What is your talent?
I don't know. I used to be.
They said these guys who have is all their lives, they just get these is they are just strict on
they
books.
Just do that.
Yeah. What else?
I used to do poetry. I used to write poems.
Yes.
Speak them out loud.
But I knew there was something.
I never got to a stage.
Maybe today is your time.
I don't have.
You don't have a poem.
Yeah. Okay, I could tell you my favorite poem though.
Tell us your favorite poem. You could come back to this in 2027.
I don't think they'll elect me because I'm a poet.
They come back just to see the kind of person they are electing.
The kind of person that you are. Yeah, my favorite poem is it's called "How Do I Love Thee." Yes, by
How Do I Love Thee?
Yeah, some lady called Barrett. Yeah, it's a love poem. I'm not a hopeless romantic, but it's a good poem.
You're not.
Really. I'm not.
You've said a man doesn't look for love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I could also tell you my favorite book.
Yeah, what's your favorite book?
It's not the best book that I've read. It's called A Tale of Two Cities.
A Tale of Two Cities.
Yes, by Charles Dickens. It's a book that I think everyone should read. It takes you to places, Yeah, and I also read George Orwell. The person that wrote Shamba la Wanyama or Animal Farm. People quote his things a lot, but they do not really know the kind of writer he was. It's like he wrote then, but he lived during our time.
All the best in your quest.
My quest.
In your quest. And all the best as in all your ambitions.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a man who believes in God, and I hope and pray that God walks you through until the very end.
Okay.
Hey, this interview has been a very long one and an interesting one, and a very kind of informative and educative interview. And I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you have learnt a lot. And lastly, as I want to close this interview, what do you have to say lastly as your last, parting shot?
Oh, as my parting shot. I think I'll just give, my favorite quote. It's mine.
Yours?
Yes, it's mine. And it says that, where everything else fails, audacity will lead us home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, repeat that.
Yeah. Where everything fails.
Where everything fails.
Audacity will lead us home.
Audacity will lead us home.
Yes.
That's my mantra from today. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. It has been an amazing time. I really appreciate you for that. I really appreciate you taking your time to grant us this interview. And what do we say? Until the next